横浜
Welcome to the official live stream from the Sepang International Circuits on a very bright sunny day up here in Sepang. My name is Jeevan Salvanathan, and as you can see from the screen, the cars from the Malaysia Championship Series are out on track. This is race 2 of round 4, the business end of the championship, and it's going to be perfect conditions by the looks of it for a late afternoon race, just coming up to 3 p.m. That's the track, as is the track for all of the 5 race weekends, I should say. 15 corners, 5.542 kilometers, and with those 2 long straights of 927 meters to contend with. And this has been the location, I should say, the venue for each of those race weekends so far. 2 races per weekend, and within each race, actually 4 different classes, but really 3. Touring production, the MTC Malaysia Touring class, Sport Production 1 and Sport Production 2. Look at that track temperature, 58 degrees C. That is actually topping up on pretty much the hottest I've seen up at the SIC, Sepang International Circuit. It has been drying for most of the day, but there was a little bit of rain early this morning. That doesn't really seem to make any difference anymore. Now, while these guys are on their formation lap, do note the what's at the bottom of your screen right now. If you want to get involved with the go-kart circuit or any of the SIC initiatives, such as actually getting your car out on the track as well, there you go, then there are a lot of options and packages for you to come and try out the same track that has seen glory for the likes of Juan Pablo Montoya. I've brought up his name because, of course, he was one of the fastest laps around it. Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, everybody, Michael Schumacher, everybody that you know from motorsports has been to this track. And you can also learn about the motorsports industry as well. If you want to find out about any of these initiatives, the go-kart track, getting your car on the track, or the motorsports industry, then as you can see, there is a website for you to get to, www.sepangcircuit.com. That is also the place where you can get all the information you need about the Malaysia Championship Series as well. And what a series it has been. This series has seen pretty much everything. Just one last thing, of course, don't forget the big MotoGP, Malaysian MotoGP with Hafiz Sharin, homegrown talent who's been making headlines in MotoGP, coming here to make, hopefully, more headlines in that 2nd to 4th November race. If you want tickets, get onto that website again, www.sepangcircuit.com. Now, back to the Malaysia Championship Series. As I said, everything that you could possibly want from motorsports we've seen this year in 2018. This is actually the 4th season of the Malaysia Championship Series, but really, that's not as specific as I could be. It used to be part of the Malaysian Super Series. It's always been pretty much the National Touring Car Championship, though. Nowadays, of course, with live stream technology, and I've been at the head of this live stream for 2 years now, you guys everywhere around the world and from the Malaysian motorsports community get to watch some of the best drivers in Malaysia strut their stuff. And when I say strut their stuff, I do mean it, because these guys have raced around this track so many times. They're all very good friends. They all know each other very well. And these touring cars, as you can find, good, say a bit of a hi to the grid girls. How are you doing? How are you doing? These touring cars around the world, oh, sorry, how are you doing? These touring cars around the world have always proved a bit of a handful for the drivers, because they are not the most technologically efficient, I should say, of cars. These are road chassis cars. Your car in the driveway of your house right now might be an Integra, might be a Civic, it might be a Suzuki Swift. But of course, these aren't fully road spec cars. They have been tweaked up as much as they can, but they are supposed to keep that that essence of the road car, and that's what's made touring cars and all the touring car championships very, very widespread and well followed around the world, in Asia and of course in Malaysia as well. The current defending champion of the Malaysia Championship Series isn't actually here this season, Mitchell Chia. He's actually taking part in another touring car championship, the Touring Car Racing Series of Asia. And of course, just this morning, Ross Yusof was on this live stream for the Touring Car Series in Asia by IMSP as well. It's just a massive celebration of touring cars. Now, onto the grid, and it looks like well, I'd say I'm estimating the 5-minute board is up. Just trying to see if that was actually right, to randomly pick where we are on the grid. It should be, because based on the amount of mechanics and media that's actually on the grid, that's got to be the 5-minute board. 3 minutes and below, it starts clearing of people before 1 minute 30 seconds is essentially just the drivers. Now, of the drivers that are taking part today, well, of course, we have to mention Mark Darwin. He's been in red-hot form for the past, I'd say, the last 2 rounds for sure, but he picked up his 3rd win in race 1 yesterday on his birthday. I'll just add again that one of these championship race weekends, he actually got married as well. I think he's trying to plan all of his big days throughout the year with Malaysia Championship Series wins. That's the car he's in. That's the car that's been really heading the tables in terms of free practice, qualifying, and yesterday, and at the last round as well, round 3. Well, round 3 he won by a clear 40 seconds at the end of race 2. Yesterday was a bit closer because he had to deal with the pit window strategy, and it didn't quite work out the way he wanted to. If you are new to the Malaysia Championship Series, then there is one pit window of 15 minutes that's going to be open during this 1 hour plus leader race. And in that time, and of course race control will announce when that pit window is going to be, Akid Azli, Mark Darwin, all the other drivers will have to come in for a mandatory stop. Important you take on the word mandatory, because if it's too short or too long, actually if it's too short, then you can get penalized for that. Now, Mark was well in the lead at the first half of the race, came in for the pit stop. Goh Li Heng, I remember, was on his tail at that point, and so was Jonathan Z. But when he came out, in the end, Goh Li Heng had a later pit strategy. He actually only was about 6-7 seconds ahead. That's still very fast, but for Mark, he probably wanted to be at least 18, 19 seconds ahead. That was my most valuable driver award that I personally gave out yesterday to the Malaysia Championship Series. Jonathan Z has been putting in some brilliant times, and not surprising to see him 3rd on the grid today. But not only he's been getting the results, but he's also been up and thereabouts in the top 3. But he's very, very fast in qualifying as well, and he's been putting in a very good showing. Now, Fadzilalang teaming up with Lee Kum-sun. Each of these teams can have 2 drivers. They'll make that change at the pit stop window. Mark Darwin, of course, opting to, or perhaps Tedco Racing have opted to just leave him alone in that car, because he might have the stamina to pull both legs off, if you could call them legs. But he certainly has. As I said, 3 wins now, and that win yesterday was actually very significant because we did have a couple of noticeable DNFs yesterday. One of them was Baron Simon Boy Wong's Tedco Racing number 66 car, which you should be seeing on, there it is, you can just see the green doors of it, just open on the left of your screen. That's been one of the front runners and was actually the championship leader up to yesterday. But Mark, having picked up 15 points for a win in round 3, that put him up to 46 points, and then of course another 15 points yesterday means he's up to 61 points. And with that critical DNF for Boy Wong in the second half of the race yesterday, that means that they're still on 55 points. That's how close it is for touring production. Look for the likes of Nasri Said, teamed up with Kifli Othman in Sport Production 1. Brendan Lim, Chris O'Shaughnessy will be hoping that Brendan Paul and Si Wyong from the Dream Chaser team have another bad race, because they did have a relatively bad race in race 1. That's in the MTC, and Sport Production 2, well, William Chong and Alan Tam from Rio's Racing won race 1 there, but they're going to be under pressure from the likes of Eric Yong, NKE, and Nazrul Hakim as well. That's how it stands for each of the 4 classifications, and as you can see, now the 5-minute board is up, and people are slowly beginning to clear that grid. There's Akid Azli's number 50, starting second on the grid today. That's pretty high up for Akid. He's done some amazing things in this car. And if you do want to check out those amazing feats that this car and the other cars have pulled off, remember that if you're watching this on the Sepang Circuit Facebook page, just look left of your page right now. There's a little tab called videos. Click on that, and all the championship races so far have been there. I'll obviously be, on those streams as well because I was here. It'd be very difficult to not be. And I'm just hearing now that race control has said the race will be going green at exactly 3 p.m. That's 4 minutes from now. That gives time, of course, for a good formation lap. Could be more than one formation lap. But race control are looking to start this at 3 p.m. As I said, if you want to see any of these races again, then do check out the videos. They're all archived on the stream. You can binge out and have, the whole season in pretty much a day, and lots of things to see there. Black flags, yellow flags. Race 2, round 1 was one of the heaviest rainfalls I've seen in recent memory up at Sepang, which happened so suddenly that it caught most of these cars out. There were actually 6 cars piling up at the end of turn 15 because they were still on slicks and it was that heavy a rainfall. But we've also stop and go penalties, drive-through penalties, and the famous incident last round, which was Akid Azli, our second place man on the grid today, finishing third and doing the last 3 corners of the race on 3 wheels. I'm going to leave it there because you should really see it. And as I said, it's on the Sepang Circuit Facebook page. As the grid girls are asked to clear the grid, which doesn't seem to make sense, but has to happen for safety. That was a good shot of Jonathan Z's black and gold car. Again, he's starting in a very good position, third on the grid. That's Fikri Rahim, one of the early leaders in the championship, kind of tailed off a little bit midway through the season. Now, just to round off, before they get onto the formation lap, how the season's going to play out, it is very close now. I told you, it's literally 6 points between the likes of Baron Sim and Boy Wong and Mark Darwin up at the top of the table. But there is only 1 round left, and that's a very special round for the Malaysia Championship Series because it is a combined race 1 and race 2 for round 5. That's a 300-kilometer endurance race that will be happening on the 28th of September. So mark that down in your calendars. As I said, will be here for it. Roughly 54 laps, and that's what was completed from last year's winner, Kifli Othman. But a whole lot of different strategies when you've got a race that long. This is kind of bordering between a lengthy race and a sprint race. Sprint race is usually a little bit shorter, but this is a nice length, 1 hour plus leader. Looking at about 22 laps in the end on a very, very hot day up on the Sepang Circuit asphalt. 58 degrees, once again, the track temperature today. And I think we still have, yes, enough time for me to remind you about another thing that's happening and been happening only this season. It's set to continue next season, and that is the E-version of the Malaysia Championship Series, the online championship that you can get involved with. No, you can't get involved with it just off your laptop at home. You're going to have to come up to the race room simulators that have been set up on these race weekends. I've actually been in them. I haven't been on them, but I've been in them, and they are fantastic, and you can pit your skills against other races, and the fantastic prize at the end of it is if you do win, then the following season you could be in one of these cars, an actual Malaysia Championship Series touring car. And the Sepang International Circuit, we're very used to having all sorts of championships up here. We'll take care of all of the fine points and details and training that you need, but the raw skill has to come from you, and you can do that through the EMCS initiative. Once again, check that website, www.sepangcircuit.com. Now, the safety car is coming out on track, and that usually means that we should be on our way very, very soon. Safety cars don't like to just sit around. And we are. Which gives us time to have a look at the starting grid. Once again, fantastic start position for Akid Azli. Mark Darwin, of course, in pole position. Jonathan Z is going to be attacking from third. Fadzil Alang and Lee Kum-sun in 4th. Fikri Rahim, On Yu Wei and Damien Yam 5th and 6th. Lim Ye Xiang and Roy Tang in row 4. Baron Sim and Boy Wong starting from 9th. Go Li Heng and Fitra Ari, that's an important row. In 10th, Tony Teo and Paul Fan, both DNFs yesterday. They're going to be looking for a better race today. Nasri Saad, Kifli Othman, Ken Urata, Mashiko Ida, that's essentially the sport production class there. Chong Chow, Tamik Chun, Brendan Lim, Chris O'Shaughnessy's. We're getting into the MTCs. Adam Khalid, good 2nd place from him yesterday, starting in 17th. Danny Chin, good 3rd place from him yesterday, starting in 18th. Brendan Paul and CY Ong, Lung Yen Lee in 19th and 20th. Hugo Chai, Alex Wong, Farid Sani and Ju Lao in 21st and 22nd. Huyung Chia, Geraldine Reed, back on the track after a bit of a shunt yesterday. Geraldine, Chazuli and William Chong up to 26th. Nasrul Hakim and Eric Yong 27th and 28th. Unkai E and Farouk Khatir in 29th and 30th. And Kwok Hok Wai and Rashid Ramlan 31st and 32nd. That leaves Shafiq Shamsuddin and Boy Chai as the 33rd competitor. Now I'm just looking at my race control interface, which is my computer screens here, and it does actually say that Go Li Heng and Fitra Eri, one of the front runners from yesterday's race, and actually one of the most consistently finishing cars of the season so far, is not starting today. Farid Sani and Ju Lao also not starting. I want to get visual confirmation on that, but if we can get any updates, I will. That's a pretty big piece of news that Go Li Heng isn't going to be starting that Tedco Racing touring production car. We've already seen Mark Darwin, Akid Azli, Jonathan Z, Fadzil Alang and Fikri Rahim on the grid. Now, don't forget that you can get your tickets for the Malaysia MotoGP 2nd to 4th of November. Now, I was just wondering whether those non-starting tags that Go Li Heng and Farid Sani have got is in any way related to the retirement of both cars yesterday. Both of them had engine blowouts at turn 8. Turn 8 turned out to be a bit of a graveyard. In fact, this is turn 8 right here. So this uphill portion of the track was just too much for Go Li Heng and Farid Sani. And I remember Paul Fun as well had a steering lock up there. I wonder if they couldn't get those engines back online, couldn't get the cars back online, and actually having to sit this out, which would be an absolute tragedy for Go Li Heng and Fitra Eri, because they were very fast as well. They were running in 2nd place for most of race 1 yesterday. So big news immediately there. So as they come up in formation, everything has to be absolutely in line for a 2x2 formation if race control is going to start this race. And this is where it would have to shape up. We have already seen a double formation lap. That was race 2 of round 3 for this exact reason, not being formed up. Rolling start as always with the MCS, which means that that red and white car of Akid Azli is going to have to duck in, most probably from that, well, from the way I'm looking at the right side, of course. But I can tell you that blue number 11 car is very fast off the blocks and has been uncontested going into turn 1 in recent races. And here we go. Looking good so far. Well, the lights have remained red, so I'm thinking that that's going to actually have to be another. Yep, and I've just heard it pretty loud in my headphones as well. An extra formation lap. I'm sure it was for not being in a 2x2 formation. seem to be anything else wrong with that start. Of course, the drivers aren't really going to mind whoever it was that broke the formation. Fine. I'm sure they'll have to deal with that and be talked about, but for the rest of the drivers, it does of course mean that your tires are going to be pretty much at a very decent temperature. Not that a 58-degree track temperature isn't already going to be putting pressure on them, but it means your car has done just that extra lap of warm up at a pretty decent, controllable speed. But this is the uphill part of the track that caused a lot of problems yesterday. Turn 4 heads up to turn 5 into a left-handed turn 6. That is that left-hander. That's actually turn 5 going into turn 6. And then the uphill section, essentially, that there's a little dip just before turn 6, but and it just flattens out here as you get up to turn 7. Turn 7 is a broken, disjointed corner. Double right hand. This is a good place for some late braking. Can get a lot of runoff here as well. You can just see the break in the corner there. This is one of my favorite parts of the track. The dive down into turn 9, which is another natural dip. And then it's immediately uphill into turn 10. So if you have just joined us, this is the second formation lap, round 4, race 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series, live from the Sepang International Circuit. One more round after this on September the 28th, a 300-kilometer endurance race. But you'd have to say that if Mark Darwin could pull off a win here, then on his birthday weekend, not only has he pulled off the double for the weekend, but he might just be unassailable at the top and be crowned this year's champion after that 28th September race. Would be well deserved, has to be said. He's been very fast. But it looks like, unless we see a very good performance from Baron Sim and Boy Wong here, they're starting from 9th on the grid, remember. So back again onto the back straight, and once again, going to have a go at forming up just right coming around turn 15. Well, everyone's ready in the pits. Marshals look ready. See them. Big shout out to all the logistical staff and track marshals. Very hot day out there. You can see these umbrellas have been set up for them. But it's not easy, I tell you, being a motorsports cameraman or a marshal, track marshal, because, well, the hot days are fine. You should go to some of the freezing circuits like Fuji. That gets very interesting. You have a 6-hour endurance race up there. It really does mean you have to keep your focus. Here we come, round turn 15. A second shot at starting race 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series. Well, this time it is a green light, and Mark Darwin again hugging the inside wall and using his straight line speed. Now that is Jonathan Z just behind him. Akirasli's pulled up right next to him. It's going to be very interesting coming into turn 1. I can just see Baron Sim and Boy Wong with a good start up to 5th now, up to 6th just on the outside. Mark Darwin trailing these cars through turns 1 and 2. Great start from him. That's the line to take. Akirasli and Jonathan Z have again started their, well, what's becoming a customary battle for 2nd and 3rd. They did it in round 3, race 1. They did it in round 3, race 2, and also yesterday in race 1 of round 4. That red car and that black and gold car having their own personal duel. not surprisingly, Mark Darwin has already put in the first fastest sector time. He is a driver that likes to come out and immediately from the green lights put in as much distance as he can. He's got a bit of a pack behind him. Now that's Fikri Rahim with Baron Sim all over his tail. So here we come. First, Mark Darwin. Second, Akidasli battling with Jonathan Z. That's Fikri Rahim and Baron Sim for 5th and 6th. Now already seems to be some damage there at the front of that car. That's interesting. Now 3 cars here. That should be Fadzil Alang with them. That is Fadzil Alang with them. So now a 3-way battle for second spot. Akinasli, Jonathan Z and Fadzil Alang with 0.1 of a second between them coming into turn 15. Again, Mark Darwin is gifted with a battle happening behind him. That means he's going to have his own time to craft down on the lead. That's a good dive on the inside from Jonathan Z, and that should be enough to get him second spot, and it is. Wonderful move from Jonathan Z. Now, if he can play his cards right, he can leave Akinasli to fend off Fadzil Alang and actually start moving in and make sure that Mark Darwin doesn't get too much of a big lead. 1.9 seconds is what it is after 3 laps. That's nice ducking on the inside. On your way is the driver to concede, and Lim Ye Siak is the driver to take that position. So that's for 9th. Meanwhile, on your screen, there's Mark Darwin, Jonathan Z, Akinasli, Fadzil Alang. Now, as fast as the top 5 are going, they're not going fast enough to match the front of that top 5. Mark Darwin has put in a 2:29.309, and that's the benchmark. Let's look at the start again. Look at those 3 cars bunching up on the left of your screen. It's Mark Darwin, Jonathan Z, Fikri Rahim, Fadzil Alang, and Akidasli on the red and white car, just pulling up side to side. This could have been a very good move, but Mark has the inside line, and that's the perfect line to take through turns 1 and 2. You can just see then he drifts over a little bit, cuts down turn 2 so nobody can get in on the inside, and then drifts out wide. Perfect serpentine curve, and the perfect way to take it, and everybody else has to just sit behind him when he does. Akidasli and Fadzil Alang. And as I predicted, Jonathan Z has used that advantage to pull away from the other 2. This is no longer a 3-way battle. It's definitely a 2-way battle. And that's going to leave Jonathan Z enough time to really attack that blue car. Now, we've heard of a yellow flag at turn 5. We haven't seen it yet. And we've also heard that the pit window is going to be open from 3:25 to 3:40. That is 10 minutes from now. I'll just get you an update. I think, based on my calculations, that should be Shafiq Shamsuddin that has caused that yellow flag at turn 5, because his car seems to have stopped. Fadzil Alang. Speed Demon Motorville Racing. Mark Darwin, meanwhile, is now on a 128, sorry. And the safety car has been called out, so everybody down to safety car speeds. Now this is also going to be interesting, because it means that all that lead that Mark Darwin was trying to build up essentially has now just been eroded down. They're all all on the same lap. So essentially, when they all come down to the same speed behind the safety car, that train starts happening. And we've seen plenty of instances where coming off the 80-kilometer safety car speed limit and back up to racing speeds, that a couple of drivers have spun off or not managed to make the turn. There's one of the safety cars up here at the Sepang International Circuit. As you can imagine, there is actually a whole garage for the safety cars. If you really want to know, they're actually based on speed. And they go all the way up to Mercedes-Benz SLS AMGs, which is, of course, the safety car for the fastest of them all in the Formula One Championship. And that's what I mean about all that hard work for Mark Darwin has now been essentially eroded away. The first 17 minutes of the race. They're just coming up now. Well, there's actually two trains of cars at the moment. This is the front train. And the second train is really being led off by the MTCs. Brendan Lim, Brendan Paul, and Hugo Chai. And I can inform you that Shafiq Shamsuddin has managed to get his car running again, but he's about 7 corners back from the second batch of cars. I was talking about the MTC-led cars. Well, it looks like that debris or whatever obstruction or object at turn 5 has been removed by the fantastic staff up here, the marshals, because the safety car is scheduled to pit. Now enter the pit lane at the end of this lap. That's the end of this corner. And that means that they're back on to racing speeds. And that's well controlled from Mark Darwin. That was about almost a full lap, lap and a half that he had. He had to bunch up again. It's come out well. So we've rejoined the race. And again, that's a great shot. You can just see our leader, Mark Darwin, into turn 1. Jonathan Z with some daylight in second position. Third is Akid Azli. Fadzil Alang has dropped back a little bit. That's Baron Sim up behind him now. That's Fikri Rahim in 6th spot. Now I wonder if this is going to be the turn 5 incident. No, that's actually Shafiq Shamsuddin. I did say if it was him, I was right. Just locked up, and well, it wasn't that bad in the end. Did stop the car for a bit after that, but it's a pretty difficult corner anyway. And just lost control of it, but did regain it. So he has restarted and is actually still on, well, he's a lap down. So at the tail of the grid, there is Baron Sim looking for a very big result today. Baron Sim on the inside, locking up his brakes. Look at the way that Fadzil Alang just cut that line off. Turn 4. Mark Darwin into turn 9. Jonathan Z still in second. Akid Azli with a puff of smoke in third. And then the battle behind them. That's Roy Tang, who we actually saw in the Malaysia touring class not so long ago, up to touring production now. How about that for a traffic jam into turn 9? Actually, that's turn 11. Baron Baron Sim still not managing to find a way past either Fadzil Alang or Fikri Rahim, and Fikri Rahim has actually leapfrogged his way into 5th spot now. Well, he had it for a while, but not really going to end up with a good result by conceding places, which is why Baron Sim on the back straight has retaken 5th spot. There really is nothing between these top 4. That's a lot of smoke coming off the tyres of Fadzil Alang. He's going to have trouble controlling that car coming out of this corner. Would have lost a lot of time as well. I wouldn't be surprised if those 2 cars behind him start closing up. There are your standings so far. Boytak again trying on the inside. Lim Ye Seng again having to concede turn 2. Not the first time he's done that today. That's the battle for 7th and 8th. Now this is the big lockup from Fadzil Alang. It's a very dangerous corner to be locking up like that because it's so easy to keep going straight at that point and end up in the runoff. This was where he controlled it very well. Of course, lost a bit of speed in doing that, but by the looks of it, Baron Sim and Fikri Rahim also took wide lines into turn 15, so a bit lucky there. Well, I was going to say that was the leader of the MTC class. It's not. That is actually 3rd place. Brendan Lim and currently Adam Khalid, whose 2nd points finish yesterday and did really well in round 3 as well. Well, he's leading now in the MTC class for the Dream Chaser team. What a great result it would be if Adam could be top of the podium in 37 minutes from now. This 76 car has been the one causing a lot of headlines. Had a double DNF in round 3. Came back with a win yesterday. It's all been very close indeed. Brendan Paul and CY Ong this time just behind them. They were the team pairing that snatched the championship lead at the end of round 3 because of that double DNF. Now the pit window isn't actually open yet. I'm assuming that that car has had a lot of trouble and most probably isn't coming in or coming out again, but there is still work going on it. So it's actually, I can tell you now, there's been contact at turn 2 as well. And that's a big news in this Sport Production 1 class. Ken Urata and Nasri Syed have had a bit of contact while battling for the SB1 class, and it's actually been deemed as Nasri Syed's fault, and so he's now going to have to execute a drive-through penalty for that. We'll get you more information as it comes in, but that's big news in the Sport Production 1 class. The front runners have had some contact at turn 2. Got the drive-through penalty, but both of them have dropped down the order, of course, as you'd expect, and are actually 2 laps behind now. So it looks like significant contact based on the numbers that we've got up here. Now, checking back in again with the massive battle that's happening for 3rd spot. Akid Azli there at the front of that trio. Fadzil Alang in the middle. Baron Sim in the green car coming up to turn 8. Fikri Rahim just waiting to pounce on whatever happens with the 3 in front of him. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. All in the space of your TV screen. Should be enough to remind you about how close they actually are. The pit window is now officially open, so we're going to get into the mysterious part of every MCS race, and that is how these teams are going to be using losing that one pit stop. A lot of cars are going to be coming in, and when they come out, based on the amount of laps completed, which should be roughly the same because of that full course yellow that we saw earlier on. So this really is going to be about who's got the fastest pit stop and who comes in first and who comes in later, because, well, for once, top 26 cars are all on the same lap. This doesn't happen that often. Now, whether they change their strategy because of that, now that's yet more brake lock by Fadzil Alang, and it's enough this time for Baron Sim to come through. The Baron Sim up to 4th. Well, I correct myself, Baron Sim up to 3rd. But Fadzil Alang is going to try again on the inside. Hasn't got half a car length, which means it's going to be very difficult from here. That's aggressive stuff from Baron Sim. No way he was going to let Fadzil Alang through. Is 7 seconds off Mark Darwin. That's where we stand right now at about halfway point of the race. Once again, this was, look at that. I have to say that left front tyre is going to be a little bit dodgy to feel for the next couple of laps, but of course it's only going to be for the next couple of laps. I'm sure that car might be coming in. Pit window now open, and it will be open for another 13 minutes. Meanwhile, up at the front, Mark Darwin will use any advantage he can to add a couple of seconds on before he gets into the pits. Looks like the MTC, Hugo Chai and Alex Wong. Nope, that is in fact not that car. That's Danny Chin, who was a 3rd place finisher yesterday. That's Geraldine Reed. Had a bit of a nasty shunt with Hugo Chai, and I think that's why I was remembering it, because it looked very similar at that exact point of the turn as well. Geraldine in the bigger Toyota Vios chassis. That Suzuki Swift is going to be hugging the corners a little bit better. Well, how about that for yet more contact at turn 1? And really, well, that's a very tough one to call. What were the two different types of car in there? Realistically, though, my heart is saying that Danny Chin probably should have pulled out of that and not cut across the front of Geraldine. Just in the back of your screen, that is Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy's 76 Tedco racing car up at the front here. That is Danny Chin, who is now 2nd place. Well, he was 2nd place. That's Adam Khalid. So this is actually the fight for the top 3 in the Malaysia touring class, and it looks like it might be another very close one. Adam Khalid was having a great ride in that Proton Satria, but he has just relinquished the lead to Danny Chin, who is looking to better his 3rd spot from yesterday. Danny Chin, don't forget, was also pipped in the last corner of race 2 of round 3 last month. Turn 15, it was Brendan Paul and Si Wyong that came through. Nail-biting stuff, and Danny's going to be hoping that that doesn't happen again. Now in the middle of all that is Paul Funn's R Engineering touring production car, the yellow on your screen. It's taking a very wide line, and it's almost contact again on that downhill stretch into turn 11, and they are side by side. Adam Khalid refusing to give up that lead. He's completely off track. Danny Chin is just being merciless at the moment. And that's the debris that's been left by what looks like, I don't know if that was a fresh shunt or one of the ones that we've seen. We have already had 2 shunts. And there was, of course, the one we didn't see between the 2 sport production cars, Nasri Said and Ken Urata. By the way, that has left Chong Chow as the only SB1 car on track at the moment. Sorry, do correction. Nasri Said and Kifli Othman are back on track. Ken Urata and Mashiko Ida finished 2nd yesterday in that class, are still in the pits. And that's more heartbreak for Geraldine Reed. That's a blowout on the other side of the circuit. That's going to take a lot of time, and look at the amount of rubber and debris. That's the debris that we saw on the track just now. That's not going to make it easy at all. Meanwhile, cars coming into the pits: Fadzil Lim Ye Xiang, Tony Teo, On Yue, Danny Chin, Adam Khalid, Brendan Lim, Baruch Katir, Kwok Kwok Wai, Rashid Ramlan. Now this is where the strategy could play into the hands of some of the other drivers. Mark Darwin's still out on track, not surprisingly. He's only got a 7.4 second lead ahead of Jonathan Zeen. He's not going to want to give that up. Well, that is some ominous looking smoke coming from the left, from the right front wheel well of current championship leader, well, current top 3 in the MTC. That's Brendan Lim in that Tedco racing car, and that's not looking too healthy at all. A bit of smoke, fine. A lot of smoke over an extended amount of time. I'd walk away from that car and get the technicians in first. In fact, get the fire engine in first, then I'd have a look at it. But now this is that incident which Danny Chin was just being absolutely merciless and did not let Adam Khalid through. Adam would have got a good amount of pickup just from being off track. Meanwhile, up at the front, Mark Darwin and Jonathan Z both haven't come into the pits yet. Baron Sim is in the pits. Roy Tam, who's up to 4th, is in the pits. But I do have to watch the classification for the next 5 minutes, I'd say. Well, to be honest, the next 10 minutes, because with all these cars coming into the pits at once, the classifications do get a little bit mixed up. About 4 or 5 laps. Currently on lap 11, 25 minutes left in the race. No problems for Mark Darwin on his birthday weekend. He's looking for a double win. It'll be interesting to see when Mark and Jonathan both decide to come into the pits. It might even be a case of Mark waiting for Jonathan to go in first. That's Akid Azli and Fadzil Alang going through turns 1 and 2. A little bit too close. But I think that's the way you should describe these MCS races. It's never too close. As long as it's legal, I guess. Now they're both, as you can see, currently fighting for 11th and 12th. And that's what I mean about the classifications being a little bit skewed during the pit window part of the race. They were fighting for 3rd and 4th. Now back on 11th and 12th. They usually, that's a very big out for Akid Azli. Wasn't expecting that, and that's actually given a lot of way to Fadzil Alang, who just refuses to relinquish the line So one little mistake from Akidasli, and now he's got to do the attacking. And I wonder if he's going to try and cut inside here. No. Back marker ahead of them. Now talking of lapping, that might be one of the defining points of, well, that's almost a drift from Fadzalalang through there. It might be one of the defining points of the pit window strategy. There are only 21 of the 31 cars on track right now that have completed 10 laps. Only 3 cars have completed 11 laps. So if you're a lap up from everybody else, then that of course gives you roughly 2.5 minutes already to come in and get your car checked out. You have to, of course, it's a mandatory, compulsory pit stop. You can't just decide, you know what, I'm gonna have a go at it. So Jonathan Z has come in for the pit, so it's only Mark Darwin now up front that hasn't, and he's the only car that's on 12 laps as well. So that's how it's playing out. With Jonathan Z in the pits, that means that Baron Sim and Roy Tagmore on their out laps, they might have a shot at getting into second spot, second to 7th on 11 laps. Very wide from Akidasli there, pushed out of the line almost, and had to take a very unorthodox cut back to find turn 2, and has lost about 3 positions by doing that. Not a good run out. Turn 1 for Akidasli at that point. That's actually given, as you can see, Baron Sim the chance to attack Fadzalalang. And they are weaving all over the track. That looks like it's clean from Baron Sim. He just packaged that maneuver into his lapping maneuver as well. And we'll just wait. Mark Darwin still hasn't come in to the pits yet. He's 7, well, he's a lap now ahead, obviously. Nothing else, but of course, was also involved with the Touring Car Series of Asia by IMSP this morning. Unfortunately, DNF'd. Now the race pretty much halfway on. Now, Mark Darwin is finally in the pits, and this is going to be a crucial pit stop indeed. I'll keep an eye on that time. As it stands right now, and most of the cars have completed their pit stop, Paul Fun, after having a steering lock problem in race 1, is into second spot here. Jonathan Z credited as being in 3rd, Fadzalalang in 4th, Akidasli in 5th, Baron Sim down to 6th, Fikri Rahim in 7th, Roy Tang in 8th, Ling Xiang in 9th, Tony Teo in 10th. Also good from Tony, he also didn't finish yesterday. Ah, looks like just another day in the office. Tedco Racing. Well, more from race control. Apparently, Tony Teo has been speeding in the pit lane. Tut, tut, tut. Tony, that's one of the most textbook errors you can make. 60 kilometers an hour in the pit lane. And even if you're 60.15, you can get yourself a 30-second penalty, which is exactly what he just got himself. So if you want to make the right choice, slow down. Now looking at this slew of cars coming through. That looks like the Sport Production 2 class of Farouk Hatir. It is indeed right in the middle. That's the current car being lapped. It looked just like Akidasli, Fadzalalang and Baron Sim have all come through. The pit window is now shut. So into the final stage of the race. Mark Darwin and Paul Fun are still in the pits. There's confirmation of that. And that, don't worry, that would just be seeing out the end of the time for the mandatory time that you need. It means that they were actually very efficient with their pit mechanics. And we're going to see just at the end of that whether he's going to come out on in front. Now, of course, the rest of the pack, there he is starting up his engine, and he's coming out of the pit lane, and it should be fine for him. Everybody is now on 12 laps as well, so it is going to be very, very close. And when they come around to the other side, well, how about that? That has to be Fikri Rahim. It is. And that looks like he's had a high speed out. And thankfully, he looks absolutely fine. I wonder if that's his wheel that we can see just next to his car. I think it was. It looked like his front left wheel was completely off the axle. So Fikri Rahim was running in sixth spot out of the race. Another high-profile DNF. Of course, Goli Heng and Fitra Eri running in second for most of race one. They didn't even get the start, and we suspect it's because of readiness of the car. That car, of course, had a massive engine blowout yesterday, so get the start today. Meanwhile, for Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy, this will be Chris O'Shaughnessy behind the wheel of that car now. They are topping the MTC class, so good pit strategy from them. Danny Chin and Adam Khalid still in second and third, some 3 seconds back. Now that's another out. Unkai E's Wing Hing Motorsports car with a big slide. There is Danny Chin, second, with Adam Khalid still right on his tail. They've been having a great battle pretty much the whole race. The pit window didn't seem to mean anything to them. They just came in and out. Now Fikri Rahim definitely out of the race. You can see him dropping down the standings. Mark Darwin still ahead, and it looks like it has come out essentially as a mirror situation as before. So that was just, again, much as it was yesterday. Well, yesterday he was about 16 seconds ahead, went into the pit stop, came out of the pit stop, and was 7 seconds ahead. Well, this time he was 7 seconds ahead, and he's come out 7.6 seconds ahead. So zero-sum gain for Mark Darwin, but that's better than losing position. I'm sure he's going to be watching himself a little bit. Jonathan Z is on 2:29 as a best lap right now. Mark Darwin's on a 2:27. Boy Wong, who's taken over from Baron Sim, sorry, 2:28.978. And you'd expect that kind of time to be catching someone like Mark Darwin. You're definitely not going to be catching him lapping at 2:31, 2:34. So that is, in fact, Boy Wong coming back into the pits. Now that's odd because unless he's serving a penalty, that pit window should be shut. Well, it is shut. Remember, that number 66 car had a lot of problems yesterday and also ground to a halt at the end of the race, roundabout now. So Baron, Sim, and Boy Wong, that partnership, haven't had the best of weekends for round 4. Akid Azli and Fazil Alan. Not enough position and speed there. Well, look at the way that car is drifting out the back. Now, that looked like it was going to be pretty much normal corner. But it looks like there's something wrong with that car, even though it is running in third. Just look at the way, this should have been an absolutely bread and butter corner, but then it loses it about here. And that, of course, leads to the slowdown. Look at the speed pickup from Akid Azli. He needs no second invite to go through down the inside. And by that point, as you can see from the top of his car, there's all sorts of bits falling off that car at the moment. Honda FD2. And look at it, it's absolutely having the worst time trying to stay on track at the moment. That is not being pushed. Well, it is as suspected. You don't usually come into the empty pit lane unless there's something that you need fixed. And this is a second DNF for that number 66 car. Heartbreaking stuff, but pretty much the same people that we saw go out in race 1 are finding it tough in race 2. Now, what this means, of course, that's actually pretty big news, because that means that Mark Darwin is guaranteed going to be extending that 61 to 55 lead that he has at the top of the championship with a double win here and also a double DNF for Baron Sim, who was leading the championship coming into this weekend. So we've got a nail-biting finish to the MCS season. We've got a nail-biting finish for the MTC season. And that is the MTC class right now. Chris O'Shaughnessy taking over from Brendan Lim, leading MTC. Danny Chin in the blue car there, just giving way to Chong Chow. That's a sport production car that is very high up the list. In fact, 11th. This is going to be a win for Chong Chow. Nasri Said and Kifli Othman down in 27th spot. Kifli Othman, we have to say something about Kifli, probably one of the fastest drivers known to everyone up at Sepang International Circuit. The winner, of course, last year of the 300-kilometer endurance, has had a bit of a nightmare this season with reliability, both in the touring production class, where he was running with the Dr. Mayhem racing team, but also now, after a win yesterday, he's having problems at our engineering with his new partner, Nasri Said. They had a bit of contact with Ken Urata, Shiko Ida, and they both, well, all four of them, both cars, were pretty much never seen again in this race. And that's just worked really well into the favor of Chong Chow and Tam Yik Chun, who's currently behind the wheel of that R Engineering Sport Production 1 class. 7th overall and topping that class. Really well done. Talking of topping their class, Mark Darwin is getting ever closer to his second win of the weekend. Birthday weekend as well. I'm going to be very conservative and not reveal his age on air. I think that's only right. It's his birthday, but it is his birthday, so if you do see him, then wish him a happy birthday. I have a funny feeling he's going to be in a good mood. Now, I was talking about mandatory pit stop times. Well, car 62, and that, of course, is Paul Fan, speeding in the pit lane again. So, Paul Fan has not had a good weekend. Steering lock yesterday, coming out of turn 8. Irreparable, had to pull the car off to the side, and now speeding in the pit lane means he's going to have a 30-second penalty at least, but he's currently, well, no, it's been dished out. He was running in 14th overall. Now that is a sight, that's Mark Darwin going past the leader of the MTC class, Chris O'Shaughnessy. In fact, passing that entire battle. That means he's lapped everyone up to 9th on the grid now. Well, 9th in the classification. And up next should be On Your Way. In fact, it should be Damien Yap. Smooth sailing indeed. Got about 10 minutes left. When interviewed after the race yesterday, after his first win, he said that he had no significant problems with the car. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from him again after the podium presentations today. All the podiums for each of the classes will be taking place in just about 10 minutes from now, maybe 11, 12 minutes from now. Give him some time to set that up. There is that MTC leader, Chris O'Shaughnessy. Also said he had no problems. The team were fantastic. The weather was fantastic. this was the corner. It was that uphill approach to 3 engines yesterday. Saw cars just idling down this part before pulling off to the side wherever they could. Now, meanwhile, up at the front, just keeping a bit of a scan of how Jonathan Z is doing in this race too. And he has been trying his hardest, but he has been averaging about 2:31 and is 11 seconds behind Mark Darwin. I think he's going to settle for another second place. This is going to be a good run of points from him. Not going to be enough to take the title or the championship, but it is definitely going to boost up his spirits for the final round on the 28th of September. Arguably the fastest man on track right now currently is Jonathan Z in terms of performances he's put in. And had a second place finish for race 2 of round 3. That was a very good weekend for him, because he also finished 3rd in race 1 of round 3. So double podium in round 3 and double podium looks like it's going to be here as well. Once again, if you want to test your skills out at any of the facilities up at the Sepang International Circuit, there are so many of them. One of them is the go-kart circuit. Get on to www.sepangcircuit.com. That's another thing you can do. You can get on the track with your friends as well. It's not just your car. If you wish to race your friends, it's going to be something you never forget. I have been around this track myself and I never forgot it. You should try that out. www.sepangcircuit.com, where you can also find, of course, tickets and booking details for the Malaysia MotoGP. There it is, the Shell Malaysia Motorcycle Grand Prix. Very soon now. That is Akidazli leading off. What looks like that's Danny Chin, in fact. Up into turn 10. There's Paul Fun. Paul Fun, I think, yet to... Well, it's actually not a drive-through penalty, so Paul Fun will probably just have that 30-second penalty added to his time. Slight little drift. Akidazli, that's the distance between Jonathan Z and Mark Darwin at the moment, getting slightly bigger. There's about 2, maybe 3 if pushed, full laps left of this race. It is 1 hour plus the leader, so as soon as we saw it yesterday, as soon as the clock runs down, that lap will be finished by the leader. I'm going to stick my neck out once again. I was right yesterday that if Mark Darwin, in good condition, should be able to see out the rest of this race and make it a double win. Very reliable driver like that. That's Fadzil Alang, still on track, even though that car was having a lot of troubles with the big corners. This is a big corner. Oh, it looks like it's at the front bonnet. Seems to have a few problems. There is just the roof rack railing there is also coming off, the rubber seal. Just surprised that that car's managed to actually make it that far. And Lee Kum-sun. Actually, Lee Kum-sun, I always crediting both drivers because it is a team effort, but really give credit where credit is due, and that is Lee Kum-sun. Don't forget, of course, he was out of the race this morning. He's going to be very happy to still be in it. That's Paul Fun's, our engineering car. That was a little bit too fast in the pit lane, and that should be Roy Tang. Yes, it is. Looks like another engine blow. Now, Roy Tang was running in 7th. Means On Yu Wei should be up to 7th now. Damien Yam should be up to 7th, sorry. 4 minutes left. Mark Darwin needs probably another lap and a half. Difficult before he can make his final approach. And collect what has really been a brilliant double win for him. Into turn 15, knows how to nurse his car just right. Now, of course, he is very good at getting the best out of any car that I've pretty much seen him drive, but it has to also, we have to give a lot of credit to the Tedco Racing team and the way they've set that car up. Oh, he's just coming past William Chong and Alan Tam and Farouk Katia. That might actually be the second time that he's lapping them. One of his team engineers waiting patiently for the return of their car. That's Damien Yam. Wow, Roy Tang still managing to get something out of that car, but indicator is on. It's always when you see indicators on these cars that you realize how close they actually are to road cars. One of the interesting things we've seen from the Malaysian Championship Series is that each of these races can start at different times during the day. There are other championships happening at Sepang when the Malaysian Championship Series is on, and one of the races that we've seen was pretty late at night or late in the evening, and of course it needed headlights, which is a great thing to have on your chassis, in working order, of course. Little things you don't find in F1, indicators and headlights, but you do find them in World Touring Car Championship and all the touring car classes you find around the world. Very versatile racing format. With a lot less electronics in it. So, there are a lot of hardcore motorsports enthusiasts that believe that touring car racing is far more closer these days, in these current years, to essential motorsports, man and machine, no electronics in between. Now that is a car stopped just, we were focusing on Danny Chin, that's a car that stopped just before turn 7, and I'm looking to see who it is. And I think it is Eunkai E's Winging Motorsports. It is back up now, moving, but that was the car that looked like it stopped. Fadzalalang still holding on to that 4th place, but not by much. That car is making a lot of noise and is also drifting around. Now we're into the final lap now. Seen that on the screens. There you go. It's confirmation of it, which means Mark Darwin has come around, and with 20 laps completed, looks like it's going to be a 21 lap race, and for him, of course, this should be more of a victory lap. He'll put in a victory lap, but he's so far ahead. He's 14.9 seconds ahead. Not the longest distance we've seen, but Jonathan Z, credit to him for hanging in there and giving it a go. It was always going to be a tough ask. Akid Azli is in 3rd, some 10 seconds behind. That's confirmation of that gap. Fadzil Alang, 19 seconds behind Akid Azli. Tony Teo and Lim Ye Sang should be coming in 5th and 6th. That essentially is the top 6 in the touring production class. Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy still ahead of Danny Chin, and that's some 12 seconds ahead as well, so that's not going to be a last lap decider. Chong Chow still running in amongst the touring production and MTC cars in that Sport Production 1 car. Guaranteed, I reckon, going to be taking the 8th overall and top spot in Sport Production 1, and it should be Farouk Katia from Tedco Racing that takes the Sport Production 2 class from William Chong and Eric Yong. It's been a very interesting race too, and we will be looking at the highlights if you've just joined us after the race is completed. But once again, no Go Li Heng in Fitra Eri, no Farid Sani Julal. The former of those combinations was really one that was missed, one from touring production. Farid Sani and Julal did very well in MTC yesterday. Both cars had to, well, I think that's Roy Tang who's just made it over to the pits. But both those cars had to retire for engine problems yesterday, and it looks like they couldn't get the cars back ready in time for race 2. There is one car allowed to be set up for each team in the Malaysia Championship Series. If that car doesn't work for race 2, then that's the way it goes. So checkered flag for Mark Darwin, double win on his birthday weekend, and his 4th win of the season, and that's going to propel him. He should be, according to my calculations, some 21 points roughly ahead of Baron Sim and Boy Wong, who spectacularly this weekend have had a double DNF. Now this is Farouk Katir, who should be coming in to clock the Sport Production 2 category. And he does so. Chong Chow has taken the Sport Production 1 category. And Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy have taken the Malaysia Touring Class category. I'd like to say that these are expected results, but it really has been a weekend that has been defined by the heat for one, and that obviously took its toll on a lot of people yesterday, with the biggest losers being, of course, Go Li Heng, Fitra Eri, Baron Sim, and Boy Wong. Now that is Farouk Katir on the last. I was wondering why it was such a slow pickup there, but that's actually where we started watching that corner. So there was a bit of contact there between Farouk Katir and, by the looks of it, oh, that could have been Hugo Chai and Alex Wong. But managed to control it and still finish, and we've now pretty much got finishes from everyone. And these guys are going to be making their way into Parc Fermé just as soon as possible. Get their cars scrutiny in, of course, check to see if everything was above board and in regulations. So, the big headlines from today, well, as I said, we're going to be having a look at the headlines of the highlights very soon, and I'm sure that they are going to be including this car here. That number 11 Honda from Tedco Racing has been untouchable for the weekend. Fastest in free practice, fastest in qualifying, fastest and of course title winner yesterday in race 1 and in race 2 as well. Pretty spectacular stuff from Mark Darwin, but as I said, one of the famous names around Sepang International, and not really that surprising to any of the local Malaysian community to see the likes of Mark Darwin, Boy Wong, Kifli Othman especially, getting round this track very, very fast. But Mark Darwin this season seems to be his. That might be an unassailable lead as we get into the 300-kilometer round 5 finale on the 28th of September, but who's to say that blue car is not going to be leading that race for most of the way as well, because that's what it's been doing. We'll let these guys get into Parc Fermé. Of course, we still have the highlights and the podium ceremony for each of the 4 classes to come, so stick around with us on the official live stream of the Sepang International Circuit. So the final results, and a great performance from Mark Darwin. As you can see, top of the heat. Jonathan Z once again has put in a great drive. Aki Lasli in third, Fadzil Alang in fourth. Tony Teo with a good finish, was a DNF yesterday, race one for fifth spot. Lim Ye Xiang with a good finish in sixth. On Yu Wei and Damien Yam in seventh. Chong Chow and Taimik Chun in eighth. Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy take the ninth overall and MTC win. Danny Chin takes 10th overall and MTC second spot. Adam Khalid takes third spot in the MTC, 11th overall. Brendan Paul and CY Ong, Paul Fan and Lung Yen Lee take us up to 14. Hugo Chai, William Chong and Farouk Khatir up to 17. Eric Yong, Nasrul Hakim and Roy Tang managed to get that car round in the end and finishes 20th. The rest are pretty much DNFs, as you can see from their laps completed. Kai, Geraldine Reed, that's a double DNF for her today. Shafiq Shamsuddin, Kwok, Mohamed Nasri Said, Rashid Ramlan, Baron Simon, Boy Wong, Fikri Rahim, look at those names. Ken Urata, Mashika, Ida and Shazuli Hisham Harun also didn't make it round the completed way. And those names, I said, the likes of Baron Simon, Boy Wong, not finishing both races today. That's 30 points lost. It's also 30 points given to Mark Darwin. And that means that he's now ahead in the championship standings. Now, having a look back at the highlights, we had a double formation lap, and we had a very errant car right at the start. You can see the top of your screen, but look at that fight right at the bottom of your screen. That is Mark Darwin, Aki Nazli, Jonathan Z, Fadzil Alang, and Fikri Rahim. The top five. Baron Sim just closing in the middle there as they get through. But look at the perfect line from Mark Darwin. That's very close on the inside. That cuts across nicely. Absolutely no space for everyone else to attack. And from that point on, he really didn't look back at all. Jonathan Z did manage to break away from the chasing pack, and that gave him at least enough daylight, front and rear, to launch an attack on Mark Darwin, but it wasn't enough in the end. He finished 15 seconds behind. There he is, great performer. Jonathan Z has been in a lot of battles recently, and I'm sure he would have been thinking it's quite surprising he's not one here. That was Aki Nazli locking up at turn 4. That allowed Baron Sim to come straight through. Fadzil Alang had a lot of steering problems in the second half, from midway to the second half of the race. And that fight with Baron Sim didn't go on for that much longer. This was the merciless Danny Chin, who really did not want to relinquish that MTC lead. That's Adam Khalid right next to him. And it got so heated that he actually had to drive off track, came back on, but Danny Chin wasn't having any of it at all. And that was a very good performance, because Danny, of course, did finish second to Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy in the MTC class. It was a double DNF for Geraldine Reed. Yesterday in race 1, it was at that same corner, in fact, that you're seeing now. A bit of a hit with Hugo Chai. This time it looks like a classic tire blowout. Did well to nurse that car around. This is Aki Nazli and Fadzil Alang. They also had their own little battle near the end of the race. This time, though, it was, well, that was just too close to call. And look at that, absolutely no line conceded or given by Fadzil Alang, to the point Akid was trying to find every way in, and in the end, it was a very slick move, but he couldn't keep it. Look at that, that's exactly what I mean about picking the right racing line, because the line he ended up picking there, Aki Nazli, actually lost him 3 positions, because he had to come back from such a wide position. So it may have looked good on the inside at the beginning, but in the end, ultimately didn't work out for him. There was Danny Chin and Mark Darwin. That's the second place and the leader. From second place from MTC, the leader from Shore Production, no problems. Danny gets by. Danny moves past and lets Mark get by very easily. Mark Darwin, in the end, would finish 14 seconds ahead, take the checkered flag for the touring production class, and it's a double win and 30 points for the team. And that means, of course, that he is all set up now. Now, the podiums are going to be just around the corner. Stay with us for that. Right now, we're going to take a bit of a break on the official live stream of the Sepang International Circuit.
横浜 横浜
Angga, này homo.
Yeah, hey, Wolfo. How are you guys over there? Can I bring the car? Yeah. Okay, very good. What time will the truck be there?
Bro, good.
I know, tapi brand apa? Itulah tu.
Mana walkie kau kasi? Check 1 2 2. Check 1 2.
Sini. Hati sedap benar. Sedap benar. Hati sedap benar pula bubur geladi Abang Sayuti ni. Driver pun tak ada. Yoi. Ya, double win. Hey, there is a round 5 of MCS, is it? Ada. He's still so the round 5 total lah. Really? Gila, dia seorang kot. Okay, so for Darwin, I just want to say congratulations for the double win this weekend. What are you feeling right now? First to Cup, so what are your preparations for round 5? Gentlemen, that was the end of the winners podium, and with me is the
Number 1 Mark Darwin, number 2 Jonathan Z, number 3 Akif Aziz. MTC, number 1 Brandon Smith, number 2 Derek Chin, number 3 Adam Khalid. SE1, Chan Chow, number 1, number 2 Muhammad Nasir Said. SE2 tengah tunggu final result tapi oh ni. Okay, final result. Number 1 Paddock Entrance, number 2 Eric Muhammad, number 3 Nazrul Hakim. SE2 presenter MTC dengan TV, Vincent Yokohama, SE1, SE2 Lewis.
Podium sequence ada tukar sikit ya. Okey, apa selalu? Bukan, kita akan start, aku akan panggil all the winner naik ke atas podium. Lepas tu national anthem terus. Okey.
panggil
Lepas
dulu
habis
Bang
national
Nasional
anthem baru bagi hadiah. Okey.
F1 Bowman. Out for Saudi. Nanti interview races nanti yang first winner saja. In between tu kalau dah habis abang switch cam lah.
Oh, tak boleh back to back.
Boleh tapi macam kelakar lah. Macam back to back kan tiba-tiba masuk.
Mau on time. Ready beritahu kita ready.
Let's kata okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Good afternoon. afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at the winners' podium, and with me, and that was the end of the MCS Malaysia Championship Series Race 2 Sunday.
Okay, hold on eh.
So, Mak Darwin.
Brandon dengan Chris
Brandon, eh?
pun double win.
Okay. Okay. Just want to come forward first.
It's okay, because after this is podium.
I interview.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much, man. Cheers, dude.
Okay, stand by eh. Kita interview MTC Brandon and Chris.
Okay, wait for my cue.
In front a bit.
Okay, stand by in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and that was the end of race 2 for the Malaysian Championship Series round 4. And with me is from the Malaysian touring car category, and a double win for them this weekend. Car number 76, Brandon Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy from Tedco Racing. Congratulations, gentlemen. How are you feeling?
Great. Just feel really great to be able to finish the race. That's all.
What about you, Chris?
Feels fantastic to be back at Sepang again with Tedco Racing and back in car 76 for me. It's great.
So what's your plan for the next one, for round 5?
So round 5 is the 300k enduro race. So hopefully pairing up with Brendan again, and a nice clean run is all you can really ask for.
Brandon, who is probably your closest rival here for this category?
For this round, a lot of our rivals have become much faster. So I think the top 4 guys are really fast, and we are fighting them hard.
Once again, congratulations, gentlemen, on your win, double win this weekend. Thank you so much.
Aush there talking to the winners of the MTC class, and it has indeed been a very good weekend for them. More interviews coming up, and of course the podium ceremony as well on the way for touring production, MTC SB1 and SB2. So stay with us on the official live stream of the Sepang International Circuit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the race 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series. We're at the winners podium, and with me, a double win again this weekend. Another double win. Car number 11, Mark Darwin from Tecco Racing. Mark, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, especially yesterday was my birthday. So we finished P1 during the official practice, P1 during qualifying, P1 for race 1, P1 for race 2. I think you can't ask for more than that. The team did a great job to put us up there, and I think I have the best car on the grid today.
Good. So what are your expectations for round 5, 300 kilometers?
Yeah, going into round 5, I'll be handed over with the maximum ballast of 60 kg. So it'll be hard, but today we are already carrying 50 kg. So we already have a good setup for the car. So I think we're quite confident going to onto the 300 kilometer race. I think we just do well and make sure that we collect as much point as possible for the championship.
Nice. Anything to say for your fans who's watching right now?
Come over for 300 kilometer. I think it's going to be fun where there'll be a lot of pits, strategies going on. When do you come in? When do you go out? I think it'll be a nice race to watch. And there's a MCS that you get to try out also. So come and support us round 5.
All right, once again, congratulations to you, Mark Darwin, for the race. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, and happy belated birthday to you. Back to you, Jeevan.
Thanks, Ash. That was Mark Darwin, and he pretty much summed it up there. I didn't actually mention the fact that he was carrying winner's ballast for this race. It is one of the rules of the Malaysia Championship Series that if you have previously won, that you do carry a certain amount of ballast, running from 30 to 60 kilograms, and so you have to set up the car around that. Carrying 50 kilos today and putting in a performance like that is really fantastic. And as Mark said it, P1 in free practice, P1 in qualifying, P1 in race 1, and P1 in race 2. You can't get better than that. Be interesting to see where he goes for the 300-kilometer race. Let's get back down to Aush now, who has another one of our winners from today.
All right, once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back right here at Winners Podium, and with me is the SP1, S Production 1 winners. Car number 7, Adrian Chong Chow and Tam Yik Chun from R Engineering. How are you feeling, guys?
Yes, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, so good. Feeling very good.
So, you won today for the SP1 race, and what is your probably the strategy that you had for today?
Because my partner have a good start and then doing quite well in the middle and then in the end also.
What about your performance compared from yesterday for race 1?
Today is quite good. His rating is also good. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Congratulations once again on your win for SP1. Thank you.
So that is a very good win for Chong Chow and Tam Yik Chun from R Engineering in the SP1 class. We still have the SP2 class winners to talk to, and I'm sure they're going to be finding their way over to talk to Aush in just a second. It was very interesting in the SP1 class because of that big shunt at turn 2 between Nasri Saad and Kifli Othman's R Engineering and the Japanese pairing of Ken Urata and Masahiko Ida. They had a second place in race 1, but because of that contact, they were both pushed down the order, and that left, of course, Chong Chow and Tam Yik Chun with a fantastic advantage to come through and win the SP1 class. We'll be back with more interviews in just a second with Ash, and of course, the podium presentation, so don't go anywhere and stay on the official live stream of the Sepang International Circuit. In fact, I've just been told that those interviews are ready. Let's get back down to Ash right now.
All right, once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at the winners podium, and now with me for the S Production 2 race winner. Position 6 yesterday for race 1. Today, first position, car number 23, Farooq Kate from Tecco Racing. Farooq, how are you feeling now?
Feeling good, feeling great. Back on the podium. I got certain issue yesterday regarding about the car. That today race, I think we covered up the whole thing back. The last incident was crazy. The guy was good, but I think he didn't. I don't know why. But after all, we're just fighting for the championship then.
Who would probably be your closest rival for this category?
Mr. Eric Young. Yeah, so because we're fighting for the championship since round 1, round 2. So just if.
Anyway, what do you have in store for the next race for round 5?
We need to plan certain things because we do have the ballast definitely. So I think the round 5 is 300 kilometers is a long run. I was thinking maybe just one driver. We try to get to finish and win the championship.
All right, thank you so much, Farouk. Congratulations once again. And back to you, Jivan.
Thanks, Ash. Farouk Katir, very calm after his second place in the SP2 class. William Chong and Alan Tam from Rio's Racing coming through in that class. But of course, it has been a long race for him, and he did have a few incidents within that race. There was that little clip at turn 15 right at the end as well before he came through. So that is all four of our touring production, SP1, MTC, and SP2 class winners. And once again, if you want to find out how they are faring against their peers in each of the classes, then log on to the official website, www.sepangcircuit.com, for all the news and information before that finale round 5 combined 300-kilometer endurance race. That's the format on the 28th of September, and you just heard Mark Darwin talking about it. It is going to be different in terms of how you plan it, but with a team that's working currently as efficiently as Tedco Racing, maybe they will have the edge over everyone else. Still waiting for those podiums, and when we get them, we will be back, and we urge you to stick around. I think, in fact, before we get to the podium, there's another interview with Ash. Let's get back down to him.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and at the winners podium, and for the second position for the touring production is with me, car number 17, Jonathan Z. Jonathan, yesterday for race 1 you placed 3rd and today 2nd. So what was working in the pit stop with your crew and your whole team? What was the strategy for this race 2?
I have my team manager planning everything properly with all the crews, preparing, doing all the setup to perfect, to make sure I drive peacefully. Yes.
Okay, what do you have probably your plan or your strategy for round 5, 300 kilometers?
I will be partnering with my teammate, Roy Tang. Yeah, he's a very, very fast driver. So I think if everything goes well, it will be a very good fight with the champions.
Okay. Yep. Anything to say for your fans who are watching right now?
I'd like to thank everyone for flowing through all the live, sending messages. Thank you very much.
All right, congratulations to you once again, Jonathan.
Well, that's a fantastic scene right there. Not just because, of course, Jonathan Z has been a really good competitor over the weekend. I'm glad that Ash got to talk to him, but also, of course, because of his son. And I really honestly thought that he was going to grab the microphone at some point. That he was looking at it. Anyway, great performance from Jonathan Z. Not just this round, but, of course, in round 3 as well, where he got a 3rd and 2nd. This time, I think it's a double 2nd, in which case he's really proved himself over the last 2 rounds. As to getting higher and higher up. Now let's get back down with Ash, who should have another one of our winners.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are still at the winners podium, and with me is the second position winner for the S Production 1. Yesterday, first, gentlemen. Today, second. What went wrong?
Well, we had a turn 1 incident just now with the other competitor, so we had to pit in twice and repair our cars, but we managed to finish the race today, but in second place.
Okay, probably something for Kifli. For next race, round 5, 300 kilometers. What it will be your strategy for that?
Round 5, I'll be back in my car, TP class. So we are targeting to win the final round.
Okay, gentlemen, for this category, who was your closest rival? I mean, who was giving you much of a challenge right there?
It was the Japanese car number 55, is it? Was it? 55, yep. And also our Adrian and his partner, they were tough also, but then the Japanese were our main competitor.
All right, congratulations once again, gentlemen, for your win this weekend. Have a good day.
Kifli Othman and Nasri Sadeh, who were involved in that incident they were just talking about with the Japanese pairing from FPC Racing, Ken Urata and Masahiko Ida. More to come on the official Sepang International Circuit live stream, so stay with us.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Malaysia Championship Series 2018 Round 4. And that was the end of Race 2. And with me is the second place winner for the Malaysian Touring Car category. Car number 5, Adam Khalid from Team Dream Chaser. Adam, how are you feeling today?
I'm just ecstatic. It was a really what do I say, stressful race, I could say, and it was really fun as well. From the lights out till the end, it was just dicing it out all the way. Chris and Brandon had a really good start, and we were just dicing it out. I managed to grab first place for a while until the safety car kicked in, and then it was a bit unfortunate, and yeah, and then they managed to get me off there, and it was just held the position till the end of the race. It was good. Yeah, it was a good race.
So what are your plans for the next one, for round 5, final round?
So round 5 is going to be a bit tricky for me, another 20 kilos on my car, so it's going to be a bit heavier. But yeah, I mean, I'll be working it with Team Dream Chaser and my sponsors High Rev Lubricants. So we'll see, we get a little bit more track time, a little bit more practice here and there. We could probably, shred a few seconds, a few tenths of our lap times and, get the consistency going.
All right, Adam, thank you so much. Congratulations, and looking forward for your round 5.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Jivan.
Thanks, Ash. That was Adam Khalid, another one of the great performers over the weekend from the MTC class, the Dream Chaser team, putting in a lot of good laps, but of course had that wonderful battle with Danny Chin halfway through the race. More interviews on the way and more, so keep it locked onto the Sepang International Circuit official live stream. And it looks like we are about ready for those podium presentations. The grid girls are on hand at the podium. Our VIP should be making their way up there as well.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Podium presentations for.
So we should be starting with the touring production class.
Please welcome all the winners to the podium.
In fact, it is going to be the SB2, Sport Production 2 class
For
first.
Super Sport Productions 2. Car number 86. Car number 22 and car number 23 to the podium.
So it is Farouk Katia, Eric Yong, and Nasrul Hakim that have come up to the podium for SP2. So Farouk Katia with the win in the end. Congratulations to our SP2 winners. And Yunus Malik, the track operations manager, is here to give their prizes.
Second place, car number 22, Eric Yon Bombi. Winner for MCS Race 2, car number 23, Farouk Hadi. Congratulations all the winners.
So next up we should be seeing SB1.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It is indeed the SB1 class.
Please welcome car number 77, car number 7 to the podium.
Chong Chao, Tamik Chun, and of course the other two members of the SB1 class who both unfortunately clipped. There is Nasri Saad and Kifli Othman. We should be seeing Kenurata and Masahiko Ida, but it looks like they're probably still working on that car.
Presenting trophy to our winner. Welcome Mr. Yunus Malik, track manager of SIC. Second place to car number 77.
And Yunus Malik again in action, the track operations manager at SIC. It was a different SB1 class. A lot of incidents happening, but I guess that's the biggest headline. Chong Chao and Tamik Chun taking top honors, and so they should, being the most reliable car out there. And that should mean that the MTC class is up next. Touring production final podium of the day. And I can see there Brendan Paul and CY Ong, who did make the podium this time. Brendan Paul and CY Ong have done very well to get themselves back into the championship, but it was a return to form for Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy, who we just heard from earlier. And I'm sure they're now going to be making their way to the podium. There they are. It's almost as if Chris had heard me.
Number 5 and 76.
And there you go, Adam Khalid with another second spot. Very happy with that for him. Now, of course, a double win for Chris O'Shaughnessy and Brendan Lim. Well done to all of our winners from the MTC class. As I said, it has been very keenly contested over the last couple of rounds, and it really has been those two pairings that you've seen, first and third, that have been battling it out. Here's Jason Chow, the sales manager from Yokohama, Malaysia. Yokohama, the official tire, of course, for the entire Malaysia Championship Series. It's had to deal with a lot of temperature variances and a lot of climactic conditions, but it's still come through as an amazing tire.
Car number 76, Brendan Lim and Chris O'Shaughnessy.
And there are our winners, double winners for the weekend, 30 points, and looking good for round 5.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, podium presentation for Malaysian CCC Race 2 Touring Production.
So Touring Production is our final podium of the afternoon.
Car number 17 and car number 11.
Aki Dasley, Jonathan Z, and Mark Darwin will be making their appearances. And I think that Jonathan Z is not... Oh, that's a shame. He's not going to have his boy with him, as his son was looking very interested in a broadcasting career.
Race for our national anthem.
Congratulations to all of our winners today from the Touring Production, Sport Production 1, MTC and Sport Production 2 classes. This is our final podium. Jason Chow with the prizes. Mark Darwin, Akid Azli and Jonathan Z. Jonathan Z and Akid Azli, good to see them both on the podium. They've been having such great battles on track for the last 2 rounds. But Mark Darwin, what can you say? 4th win of the season, just the right time, peaking at the right time and looking good for that 300-kilometer final endurance race to round off the season. And that, of course, will be happening on the 28th of September. Once again, if you want to watch all of the previous races, then just click on the videos tab on the Sepang Circuit Facebook page. Do check the official website, www.sepangcircuit.com, for information on the MotoGP coming up in November, but also all the big initiatives and packages about getting out on track as well. I myself will be back on the 20th of September. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, and you guys have a fantastic evening from everyone here at the Malaysia Championship Series. We'll see you at round 5.
Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you.